Alrighty, we got an article. I saw this article pop up in my YouTube feed with people like reading it and shit, and I just wanted to give my 2 cents on it because I just saw the title. I didn't really see anybody's opinion or anything like that, so I'm just gonna jump in. So we got gamers have become less interested in strategic thinking and planning. All right, so in our blog post, we focused a lot on demographic cohort comparisons and how motivations are linked to in-game preferences. Usually using slices of contemporaneous survey data, but because we've been collecting data from our gamer motivation profile for about 9 years, we can also explore how gaming motivations have changed over a long period of time. All right. In this blog post, we'll dive deep into a long-term trend we've uncovered over the last 9 years. Gamers have become less interested in strategic thinking and planning. Well, I will start off and say that is it the gamers that are becoming less interested, or are simply the games becoming less and less uh, critical of using critical thinking, strategic thinking, and planning and all this? Who's at fault? I mean, I'm not trying to place fault. I'm just trying to think of, the last 9 years of gaming, is pretty big. We had that pandemic thing. There's a lot of free to play games that have popped up. Within the last 9 years, battle royales have become popular, at least within the FPS genre. Counter Strike and Valorant are still like really prevalent in the gaming scene, just period. And then if I go outside the FPS genre, like Souls-like, rogue-like, action adventure, single player, simulator games. I mean, there's like a shitload of games, man. There is. Um, so I don't know. This seems like a very loaded sentence, but let's see. The gamer motivation profile. The gamer motivation profile is a 5-minute survey that allows gamers to get a personalized report of their gaming motivations and see how they compare with other gamers. All right. So you first got to figure out, what is a gamer? If I would probably say, I'd be very generous with the terms gamer, whether you like it or not. If you play on console, you're a gamer. If you play on PC, you're a gamer. If you play on some sort of mobile device, you are a gamer. Those three, I would say, are like the majority of people that I would say comprise, fall under the umbrella of a gamer. Now, whether or not we can figure out, I don't think I can really figure out like how much of the pie is, that's a black circle. Wow. Oh, that's a white circle. Undo. So, if this is a pie, and let's pick a pencil, how much is mobile, console, and PC? From a rough estimate, I would probably do this. Well, no, I wouldn't even do that. If that's the center, I would probably go about that. This is your mobile gamer that plays some sort of game, at least to some degree, over the course of a week, like an hour or two. Mobile gamer. If you play some sort of game on a mobile device, I would say if this is like the pie is 100%, at least half of the people in the pie are playing games on mobile. All right. If you're playing Candy Crush, if you're playing Farmville Simulator, whatever, if you're playing whatever slots, if you're playing Solitaire, whatever, Minesweeper, a pinball game, you are at least 50%. That is 50% of gamers right there. Now, here was the tricky part. Initially, I wanted to go like just straight sideways and cut this up into 25-25 of console and PC. But my gut tells me, you know, like I've been a PC player for like the last about 4 or 5 years. I would like to say the PC side is this side, but I have to say that this side is the PC side of gamers. That's my cursor for today. And then this is obviously console. This is just what I think. All right. Whether or not I'm actually right or wrong, I don't know. So, you know, this is like, let's just say this is like 40 and this is like 60 or something like that. You know, the percentages or whatever. Oh, jeez. Wait. That's fucking horrible. Let me see. Let's just say this is like, what, like 30? And this is like 20. Okay, I would probably say there's more console gamers than PC gamers, obviously, because consoles are just easier to, you know, you buy them, you plug and play. That's it. You put in the HDMI thing or the DisplayPort thing, you put in the power cord, and voila, you're good to go. A PC is like, it's a whole mixed bag of things. You know, you're gaming on a high-end laptop or a mid laptop or like a high-end PC or a mid PC. You know, did you build it yourself? Did you buy like a pre-built or whatever? Like, it's obviously a little more complicated to like be a PC gamer, okay? So with that in mind, the gamer motivation problem, where I divide a statistical analysis of gaming profile, how gaming motivates cluster together. Okay, so actually, let me see this. Okay, so over 1.7. I don't know why they put this. Over 1.70 million gamers worldwide have taken this survey. So that's our sample size of about, let's just say about 2 million. Or you can be like 1.5 million, whatever. Taking this survey. The 12 motivations that are measured in our model were identified via statistical analysis of how gaming motivations cluster together. Actually, I want to see this. Okay, wait, what did this say? The 12 motivations. Oh my goodness, what is this? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, wait, 1, 2. Oh, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so we got the 12 motivations here. Okay, wait, a total of over 140K gamers worldwide have completed the. Okay, so this is probably like a little older article, so whatever. So let's just look at the motivations, the things that motivate gamers to play games. Okay, so we got the action category. You like destruction, guns, explosives, chaos, mayhem. Yeah, this like breaking stuff, destruction. Yeah, that makes sense. Who doesn't like stuff like this? Look at Battlefield. Look at some of like things like Rust or Minecraft or something like that. 100% excitement, fast-paced action, surprises, thrills. Yeah, for sure. And actually, these are actually pretty good, like foundational things for like game devs to figure out how to like work around. This is 100% FPS, excitement, fast-paced action, surprises, and thrills. Yep. Social, the social category, competition. Yep. Community. We have mastery. Let me think. Ooh, is this what they're targeting? Okay, so we got in the mastery category, we have challenge, practice, high difficulty, and challenges. Okay, strategy, thinking ahead and making decisions. So it seems like this article is saying that, just as a knee jerk, that this category is being targeted and gamers are valuing these categories less and less, it seems. Okay. So we got another category, achievement. I want more. Wait, completion. Get all the collectibles, complete all missions. Yeah, this type of thing, and powerful character, powerful equipment. this seems like this is more in line. This category is more in line with like free to play, pay to win models of collecting all the things. World of Warcraft, that's literally what an add-on is called. All the things. You know, collect all the feathers, collect all the cubes, collect all the little doodads around the big map in your single player game. 100%. And then powerful character, powerful equipment. This is essentially any RPG game we're talking about. And then immersion. Ooh. Once upon a time, we got the fantasy and the story aspects. Being someone else, somewhere else. Someone else, somewhere else. Okay. You know, think about a lot of good single player games like God of War, Bayonetta, what else? BioShock. Tons of great games. Absolutely. And then you got story. Are they telling a good story with interesting characters? And then we got creativity. What if? We got design, expression, customization, and discovery. Explore, tinker, and experiment. Okay, so these are the 12 categories. The 12 motivations that are measured in our model were identified via statistical analysis of how gaming motivations cluster together. What are the 12 gaming motivations in your model? Well, I just looked at that. See and compare with other gamers. Take a 5-minute survey. Maybe I'll do that later. For analysis, we use the data from 1.5 million gamers who participated in the gamer motivation profile between June 2015 and April 2024. So this is a very poignant time span because from about 2020 till 2022, the current year, there was a pandemic that was going on. So with everyone more or less being relegated to staying inside their house, obviously it seems like there would be a larger than normal sample size. Understandable. You can't you can't really account for like a pandemic in your like video game study. So respondents from China were excluded because gamers in China have a very different gaming motivation profile, likely due to their historically more isolated development of their gaming industry. So in China, they're more isolated in their gaming development, and I take it in the US, it's more cooks in the kitchen, it seems like, would be the opposite. So we have an analysis of sample details. What is strategy in our gaming motivation model? In our motivation model, strategy is defined as the appeal of long-term thinking. Appeal of long-term thinking. Okay. Planning and careful decision-making. I would say appeal of long-term thinking, planning, and careful decision. I mean, I would say some games could take this into like consideration, but when you say long-term thinking, planning, and careful decision making, that's not a lot of games. Like a lot of games are just RPG adventure. Just jump in, start experiencing the story, maybe get some loot and gear, upgrade your white items to green items to blue items, blue items to purple items, and so on and so forth. So there's not really like a lot of long-term thinking. If I can give like an extreme example of long-term thinking and planning and careful decision making, well, I would have to defer to the PoE, the game of like Path of Exile, Diablo 4, Last Epoch, like ARPGs like that. Like those are games that require long-term thinking, or any sort of like factory type game. Like let me see, like, and then also consider like StarCraft. Like, is that a long-term planning and thinking, careful decision-making game? Like PoE, you're taking like a couple hundred hours to like one shot to figure out a build, to like farm for gear, to concentrate to one shot a boss essentially. Okay, that's like a couple hundred hours right there. But what's the opposite of that? I mean, you're still doing these things like long-term thinking, planning, and careful decision making, when you're playing things like StarCraft or maybe even like a battle royale, which is, you know, an average match is like what, 20, 30 minutes. You have to think about where you're going to loot, what guns you want, how you're going to get from point A to point B. Are you going to take this fight? Are you going to get out? You know, things like this. So, I mean, what's the average length of a StarCraft match? 30 minutes ish? Or what about like League of Legends or what else? Dota. You know, you have to do a lot of long-term thinking, planning, and careful decision making. So it's not just over like 100, 200, 300 hours of like a PoE. It could be simply over like a 20, 30 minutes. So I'm not really sure of like what this means. Gamers who score high on strategy prefer longer time horizons for planning and complex decision making with many underlying parameters to consider, i.e., all the branching decisions and likely outcomes seen in games like Europa Universalis and Total War. I have no idea of what any of these games are, or like what the game loop is for any of these games. I am just in a bubble, so I don't know. Gamers who score low on strategy for more reactive, spontaneous gameplay and simple decision making with few underlying parameters to consider, such as in games like Just Dance and Animal Crossing. Okay. Uh I Gamers who score low on strategy prefer more reactive stuff like Just Dance. Okay, so Just Dance, Guitar Hero, and like what Rock Band, you know, that's like obvious, or Osu. These are obviously like more reaction type games, but these type of like reaction rhythm type games are not like that popular. Like yes, they're like there are an audience of people that play them, but I wouldn't say like they're like that big. And Animal Crossing, okay. A good metaphor for strategy is the size of the whiteboard in your mind that each decision is taking to map out, think through, and optimize. I mean, but you didn't really specify the time length. I mean, because I can still consider like, hey, like what would you lump StarCraft as, or what do you call it? League of Legends or Dota? Are those more reactive type games? Like, yes, there are reactive things in there, or are they more like long, drawn out, thought out, careful processing, careful planning and processing type of game? I mean, those are pretty popular games. Or what about like a Fortnite or Counter Strike? I mean, understandably, I'd probably say Counter Strike and Valorant are more reactive. Yes, there's like an overarching like plan for like each round. I mean, the goal of every round is to like just win and just kill the other guy essentially. So I would probably say even shooting, like how would you define like shooting games? Are they more reactive or more like planning? So, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of in the dark on that one. Okay. Of the 12 motivations, strategy has changed the most. When we looked for long-term trends across the 12 motivations, we found that many motivations were stable or experienced minor deviations over the past 9 years. Strategy was the clear exception. It had substantially declined over the past 9 years, and the magnitude of this change was more than twice the size of the next largest change. All right. So, huh. So of the what, like 1.5 million people just are enjoying strategy less and less. So, I mean, if that's the case, I think strategy changes the more you play a game. When you first start out playing a game, you're lost. You don't know what to do. You don't have a strategy. You don't know the game loop. You don't know anything about the game, either shooting or Souls-like or roguelike or whatever, or let's say action RPG. I would say like the longer you play a game, the more skilled at it you get, and the long-term thinking process becomes condensed because you simply are just getting better at it, I would say. So at that point, certain things in a game start to become more reactionary and you just plan less because you've already done the game loop so much. So I don't know like what they're talking about. Like I would need like I would like this paragraph like to be more expounded upon. In the chart below, the dots represent the average strategy score among the gamers who responded to Gamer Motivation Profile each month between January 2015 and April 2024 using the rolling 3-month window. And also, I don't know if, like, let's say you have 10 people in a room. I would be willing to bet you could have a list of, like, games, and each person would categorize each game differently. Like, some people might think, like an Osu game is strategic, where another person would think Osu is reactive. Because I don't know. I just simply think that like people don't think about certain aspects of a game in the same way that other people do. So, like take Diablo 4 for example. When I first started playing that game, what was it? In season like 0, in the beginning, I would have thought like there was so much strategy in the game. I was like, okay, I gotta get to the next level. I gotta get the next move. You know, put the little point on the skill tree. Okay, what do I gotta do next? Okay, I gotta go around, collect all the statues, get all the little points and things. Okay, what do I gotta do next? Well, I gotta get to this level. I gotta do the capstone. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. In the beginning, it can feel very tactical, where you plan out what you're gonna do. But then over the longer course of time, it just becomes like the game loop becomes easier. Strategy is represented on the y-axis as a percentile with the starting date, June 2015, anchored at the 50th percentile, i.e., the initial collected data is used to define the starting norm. Okay, right there. The appeal of strategy has substantially declined over the past 9 years. Yep. Using the starting norm as the 50th percentile as the basis for comparison, the strategy score has declined to the 33rd percentile as of April 2024, or put more plainly, 67% of gamers today care less about strategic thinking and planning when playing games than the average gamer back in 2015. Huh. Okay. Okay, so then my next question is, why did this happen? And it's not even so much of a, is this a good or a bad thing? I would just like to know why the trend is the trend. And then, okay, so we start up here, it goes down, and it like fluctuates too. Because then it goes down, and it seems like there's like a spike up here. I don't know what happened right here. And then there's like, it goes back down, and then there's another spike, and then it goes back down. So I would say, one thing I would say is it's partly because of just the gaming industry and the type of games that are just coming out. There was like another study done that says people are less willing to try out new games, and they are simply going back to games that they already know how to play and just simply replaying those games that have a high replay value. So if you start playing a game that has a high replay value, in the beginning when you were first playing that game, there's probably a lot of strategy and shit going on in your head. Like, okay, I'm going to save up this. I'm going to chop like 5 million trees, get up like a zillion wood. Then I'm going to hang on to that wood. And then I'm going to chop 5 billion rocks. And then I got a bunch of rocks. Now I can make cement. I just got to get water. I got to get lava. I got to do this, that. And all those things. And then I mean, it's like I said before, the longer you play a game, I think people just want to play a game. I, I think this like I'm coming to like a realization. I don't think people dislike strategy. They simply want to figure the game out so that they take the strategy component out of it, and so they can just enjoy the game loop and just enjoy the knowledge that they've gained from playing that game over the course of hundreds slash thousands of hours. So I think people kind of narrow themselves into a game loop or a specific game that they enjoy. They figure out the strategy in the first like couple hundred or 1,000 hours or something like that, and they start to hone in on that game because they just enjoy it. That's it. So then the strategy gets taken out, and it's a simple matter of enjoyment and streamline for the game. Whereas if you take that same person, let's say they got really good at creative Minecraft and like building shit and whatnot, and then all of a sudden, oh my god, there's a new game gonna come out, and let's say I'm gonna go play Elden Ring. Well, I don't know jack shit about Elden Ring. Um, I'm just gonna go on and play it, and then oh my god, all of a sudden I play a new game. My like, want, and need for strategy and my interest in strategy all of a sudden spikes back up. I think it changes whenever you play, like it changes from game to game. Whenever you get done with a game and then you jump to a new game. But I mean, I don't know how this can account for like the downtrend. I honestly think that people are less willing to try out new games. I mean, from the mobile console and PC audience, like they figure out their like one or two games that they play, they want to enjoy them and get the most bang for their buck out of them, and then that's it. And then those games will last like a couple years for them, and then they move on. Honestly, I think that's just what it is. Okay, but I'm just like going off right now. Why are we charting motivations using percentiles? Why doesn't this chart start at 0 percentile? Let me see this. Oh, these are like little like opens and shit. Okay. Let me go back to okay. Oh, goddamn! There was the 12 motivations right there. Well, I guess I can just do that. Analysis of simple. Okay, analysis of sample details. In our analysis sample, 75% identify as male. Yeah, gaming is a highly male-dominated hobby. 21% identify as female, and 4% identify as non-binary. That's fine. The mean age is 24.5. All right, so the average age it does seem like it's going up. Because like back in the day, the average age of a gamer was, I would say, younger, but people are simply just growing up with games. And so this is kind of news to me that the average age is just simply going up. Huh. With a standard deviation of 7.33, about 12% identify as casual gamers, 68% as core gamers, 20% as hardcore gamers. What are the definitions? What are your definitions of casual, core, and hardcore? I need to hear these like definitions. Is it just like a simple time investment? Or is it like a skill investment? Is an effort investment? Because like not every game is like, oh, I just automatically I just play the game for hundreds of thousands of hours and I would just automatically get better at it. Motherfucker, I know people that have played thousands of hours of a game and are still ass at it, okay? That is 100% possible. Or like in World of Warcraft, you could be playing World of Warcraft for like so many expansions, but still be shit at the game, dude. You are playing at a casual level. And look at like ranked FPS games. There are people, like most FPS games in terms of like rank distribution, most people are bronze, silver, and gold. Okay, so are those all people automatically going to fall in the what do you call it? Into like the casual uh, you know, going to fall under the casual gamer category. Okay, so in terms of geographic distribution, the majority of respondents are from North America, 46%, Western Europe, 26%. As a whole, the data collected via the Gamer Motivation Profile centers on the Western core PC console gamer market. Oh, okay. So what I was saying with like the mobile aspect is like mobile is they didn't even take into consideration mobile, probably because like they probably just put 1+1 together and said, oh, if you're a mobile gamer, you don't care about strategy period because you're on mobile. Maybe that was thought process, maybe not. Maybe it was honestly for some other reason. But okay, so this on the Western core PC and console gamer market. So it seems that of the 1.5 million people, all of those people were identified as either PC or console, it seems. Okay. So let me go down here, open this up. Motivations like IQ and personality traits are man-made constructs that are entirely relative measures. Yeah, pretty sure that's a thing. I mean, at least in the so I mean, I tend to enjoy like FPSs and like aim training, so that's my little bias that I acknowledge. And a lot of times, when like the aim train bros go to actually play like an FPS game, they all they want to do is just aim. They don't want to use abilities. They don't want to do shit. They don't want to have to worry about positioning. They just want to out aim the other guy. But when I say it like that, it sounds like I'm just gonna like unga bunga the other guy until they're dead with my aim ability, and just flex on everybody and not throw a single grenade, not use a single ability, and so on and so forth. So in that, I don't know. They probably didn't take that into consideration, but it's whatever. Okay, so motivations like IQ and personality traits are man-made constructs that are entirely relative measures. Got it. They have no natural 0-point values. Okay, true. So you'd have to make a bell curve for IQ personality traits. Okay. They only exist in comparison between people. Yes. And thus the most meaningful way to visualize them is to benchmark them against the known group average, i.e., a population norm. That's fair. For example, it doesn't make sense to plot IQ starting from 0 because 1. It visually diminishes the typical differences between people of normal IQ around 100, and 2, 0 is not the minimum IQ value since it's statistically possible to have a negative IQ. I didn't even know it was possible to have a negative IQ. I thought 0 would have been an inanimate object. Like, what the shit? Like, if you have an IQ of 1, what are you, like a single cell organism? Like a little tiny, like, skin cell? Or something? Or I don't even know. I didn't know it was possible to have negative IQ. What the hell? Oh my god. Okay. Why doesn't this chart start at 0%? Because the 0 percentile isn't the conceptual origin in a psychometric construct. It represents one extreme end of the spectrum. This is true. I don't care about the extreme sides of a bell curve. They're their own thing. The extremes sides of a bell curve do not make up the majority of people. In psychometric scales, the population norm, i.e. the 50th percentile, is the more meaningful origin point. True. Percentages, averages, and percent above below average. The statistical relationship between these concepts are sometimes unintuitive to non-stats people. I literally, I took an intro to statistics class in college. I barely scraped by with like either like a C or a B. So I'm just like, I kind of understand it, but like I understand like the bell curve, 50th percentile, standard deviation, blah, blah, blah. But that's about it. Okay. The following statements are all tautologically true. I probably butchered that word, whatever. The 50th percentile is the same as the population average, median. 50% of all people have below average intelligence. Shit. Okay. 50% of all people are above average in height. Okay. 50% of all people are below the 50th percentile. Okay, so they're just like saying like the opposite and shit. Okay. How big exactly is a drop to 33rd percentile? Both percentiles and psychometrics are fairly abstract concepts, and the magnitude of a drop to the 33rd percentile can be difficult to grok. Did this person try to type in grasp? What the fuck is difficult to grok? Whatever. To achieve anchor, or to help anchor this finding, there are real-world magnitude equivalents using more familiar metrics. It's equivalent of all men aged 20 plus in the U.S. losing 17 pounds in weight. Oh, okay. The equivalent of all adult men worldwide losing 1.34 inches in height. Oh, okay, that's pretty significant then. If they're just like doing like analogies to like show like how significant the drop is. It's equivalent of everyone worldwide losing 6.75 points of IQ. Okay, so I get it. The magnitude of the decline in strategy is equivalent. Okay, yeah, we just talked about that. Relevant data for height weight. See, okay, average male height has standard deviation of 7.59 cm. Anytime I see a measurement in cm, I immediately think of like revolutions per minute or rotations per minute. This is just like an Ambro thing I have in my head with this measurement. It's horrible. IQ has a standard deviation of 15%, or not percent, 15. Okay, obviously on the lower side. A gradual, persistent decline that predates COVID. Okay, when did COVID happen? Just like about there. So it was already going down. And then COVID hits for like a good 2 years. It went down even more. I said the C word. Whatever. Okay. So it just like, it sloped down, but like, it spiked up right there. I think this more pronounced dip is simply because more people were inside. And when more people are inside, you have to appeal to the lowest common denominator. I hate to admit it, but it's true. With more people staying inside and playing video games, playing Modern Warfare, Warzone, and a bunch of other games. I just say Warzone because, Warzone popped off real hard in pandemic days. It just, when you have more people, it warps the bell curve. Like, let's say your standard amount of people are playing Call of Duty, and the new Call of Duty just released, and then maybe some people play it, maybe some people don't, but here comes the government that says, okay, you can't go outside for like a couple months, couple years, whatever. Okay, what am I gonna do? I may have I'll have some sort of income. I'll have to make some money some sort of way. What am I going to do in my spare time? What are some hobbies that I can do and enjoy inside my house? I'm going to go to video games. So I would say that the pandemic was both good and bad for gaming, because it was good because it got more gamers to play games. I mean, which I think is fine. And it adds to the entire pool of people that play games. And, I enjoy the company, and it's just another thing to talk about with like someone that you're meeting or whatever. It's good because it got more people playing games, and it's bad because a lot of people that initially probably got into games because of the pandemic, it probably fucked their lives up, and they probably weren't that good in the beginning. So when you're like a casual, or maybe like a casual transitioning into like a core person, you're still like you don't value the same things as anyone, and like it's someone that's been playing games like 10, 15 years ago. They've seen all the blunders of a lot of game companies. You're more familiar with like the marketing tactics and strategies of AAA game developers. And I mean, a lot of these game companies, honestly, have seen like record profits between these years. Like, I can't lie. Like, a Fortnite, Warzone, a lot of game genres, because everyone was just inside. Everyone was like spending less money for the most part. They had a little bit of extra money in some way, shape, or form. They weren't spending it on gas or whatever. So it's like, okay, I'll go buy a game and just see what happens. Let me see. Where the fuck was I? Let me see. I think I was right here. When we initially had an inkling that strategy had declined, we suspected that it was potentially due to COVID and avoiding anxiety relating to thinking about the future. Yeah, I'd bet. But when we conducted the longitudinal analysis, several things stood out. Okay. The decline in strategy clearly predates COVID. It's noticeable from the earliest data collection periods, and the trend line suggests it started before 2015. Okay. Yeah. Yep, we confirm that. The trend line also makes clear that what we are observing is a gradual but very persistent long-term downward trend in strategy. Whatever the cause, it's likely that not a sudden single historical event, but part of a larger long-term cultural psychological shift. What is the cause? That is a good question. What is the cause of the downtrend? I mean, honestly, I think people want to think about like as the older you get, and it depends on the length. When you say like strategy as a category, it's hard to figure out like what you mean. I literally would just need to be expounded. Like, what's your definition of strategy? The downward trend slowed down prior to COVID, right before January 2020, and regained traction during the COVID era. And then has slowed down since COVID restrictions and have been lifted. So there is a potential argument to be made that COVID exacerbated or prolonged an ongoing trend. Okay, so they literally just acknowledged, yeah, the pandemic probably fucked the study up a little bit. Okay, that's fair. The decline is identical for both men and women. We'll look at potential confounds and data sampling issues in several ways. First, let's break down the chart by gender. Note that in the chart below, we've anchored the starting point of both cohorts to the 50th percentile, so we can more directly compare differences in change over time, i.e., men actually care more about strategy than women, so there should be a gap between the lines. But this would make it harder to visually see any differences in the longitudinal trend lines. Okay, so let's look at this. All right, so I got the males are the blue circles and the females are the yellow triangles. It's about the same. Everybody is just valuing strategy less and less. And then here's like the first part right here in January 2018. I wonder what happened right here. But I never really thought of games as what I never really determined why I bought a game. I just liked the brand of the game. The brand built up a reputation. I start to trust the reputation. I start to trust the developer with the game. And then I just simply keep playing that genre. Or I enjoy that brand, and then I'm like, oh, what other game companies do this similar genre of game? And then I go out and play a different game of that same genre, like FPSs. Oh, I like this FPS. I I like Call of Duty. I like Halo. Okay, what else is out there? I never really thought of the 12 categories because, I mean, as a knee jerk, I could look at those 12 categories and think, oh, I enjoy a little bit of everything, but in each of my games. But for me to like actually put like a number on them, and like if you were to ask me to make like a friends, my top 12 friends list of genre defining characteristics for video games, I would be hard pressed to do that. And I don't think I could be honest with myself if I did that, because I would enjoy one game for a different reason than I were another game. Yeah, I mean, and if I swap games and I enjoy this game for a different reason than I enjoyed another game, does that make me value like this strategy component even less because I change like games? Like, do I have to constantly be valuing strategy over everything else? Because if that was the case, I would just go play fucking chess or something. Like, what does chess fall under? More reactionary or more like planning and strategic? I mean, I don't know, man. They would have to like release like what their like little definitions were for like each category, or uh like I don't, it's such like a complex thing because like if they were to say like, oh, destruction, okay, that's pretty obvious, battlefield or some sort of building construction. Or if you go into like these more vague what do you call it, categories, like destruction is like, oh, the game has destruction. Okay, that's great. Competition, challenge, strategy. Like these things, they're so weird. This like competition with what? Myself, other people. Like, what is like? I can play a single player game and be competing with myself. I can play an aim trainer and be competing with myself. I can go into like speed running, Monster Hunter, and like complete it, trying to compete against myself or trying to get a better time, or whatever. I mean, or what is like World of Warcraft? Like, yes, there's like arena or like rated battlegrounds, but there's also like speed clearing like mythic dungeons or whatever. Like, what is that? Competition amongst others? Competition amongst yourself? Community, being on a team, chatting and interacting. Like, what does that mean? You can have a community in a single player game. You can have a community in a multiplayer game. Like, certain categories in here just seem to have like way more overlap than something like story. Story is literally uh like, it's usually very polarizing. A game either has a story or it doesn't. Like fighting games. Look at fighting games. A lot like the story of a fighting game falls on like the bottommost tier for most fighting games. All right, people don't play fighting games for the story. All right. So story is like very polarizing. Your game either has a story or it doesn't. Um, yeah, design, expression, like design. What does that even mean? Expression and customization. Like every free to play game has design. You can buy everything. You can buy all the cosmetics. Uh, or like if you look at an RPG where you have to earn everything, like Baldur's Gate 3, you can still have design in the game, but you look at Baldur's Gate 3 versus like some Joe Schmo free to play game, and both of those games, like Baldur's Gate 3 has a high level of like challenge and strategy, but you look at something like Valorant or something where you can design your character and have like gun skins and character skins and shit like that, or even Overwatch, and it's just like it's more reactive. Like where, like how would you like lump these together? Like I understand there's like overlap, but like, ugh. Okay, let's go back. The decline in strategy is remarkably consistent across male and female gamers. Ooh, this also means that the overall finding would be the same, even if the proportion of men and women had changed over time, which it largely did not. See below. Yeah, it's just downtrend. It's down arrow, down line. I mean, again, I just think this is because people initially go into a game trying to figure out the strategy and then trying to figure out the game, trying to meta the shit out of a game so that they take the strategy component out of it. And there's like, once you take like the surface level layer of a strategy game out of it, you can introduce a new level of complexity and strategy into a game. All right, even within like competitive FPS games like Overwatch, Counter Strike, Valorant, Apex, Fortnite, there are multiple levels of strategy in that game, and a new level is revealed to you the longer you play. The decline is similar whether we're looking at US or non-US gamers. The decline in strategy is also very similar whether we're looking at US alone or non-US countries. As with the gender chart above, starting point for both cohorts is anchored at 50th percentile to allow for better visual comparison of differences in the longitudinal trend. So yes, so this is the guy girl one. It's down, and there's like between 2020 2022, there's like that weird low, and then it spikes back up, and then it seems like it's like leveling out more or less. And then you have US versus non-US. So US is the blue line, non-US is the yellow line. Okay, there's that similar like 2020, 2022 like dip, and then spikes back up again, and it seems like it's just leveling out. Okay, the decline is an artifact of sample changes in gender, age / gamer type. While we can't rule out the possibility that the observed decline in strategy is due to change over a time in one of countless demographic variables among gamers we sample, okay, we can rule out this possibility in terms of the most likely culprits. The charts below show our gamer sample profile has been mostly stable in terms of gender, age, and gamer type, i.e., identification of casual, core, or hardcore. Okay, so what is this? The decline isn't an artifact of sample changes. Male, female, non-binary, people are just valuing this shit like the same. Okay, and then when you account for gamer type, casual, core, hardcore, casual bros, or it's like unchanged. It's like straight across. What's yellow? Yellow is hardcore. It's like it's the same. Gamer type was pink. Core, they just value it about the same. What's so funny about this one is like the difference in like casual and hardcore, which is like blue and yellow. They both value these things like equally low. But the core audience, like, what does this one mean? The core value strategy like real high. Oh, this brings back that fucking meme that I saw. God damn it. It's like a bell curve of like for like aim training where like the average in the bell curve, everybody's at Jade, and on the left side it's like all like Iron rank, and on the other side it's like all Celestial people, and then there's like a big fucking paragraph of like, what's your sense, what's your monitor, what's your pad, what's your like dots layout or whatever, and it's like all this other bullshit that you more or less have to go through, but within the community it's just been spoken of publicly ad nauseum, I would imagine. And once you get all those things ironed out and out of the way, it just becomes just click the dots, dude. Oh my god. Okay, so mean age. Oh wow. So the mean age is what, trending slightly down or unchanging? I mean, the mean age started at like what, 25ish, 26, 7, and then it's like if you look at this year, this part, it's gone slightly down. Huh. All right. While there has been a slight decline in age in the sampled gamers, and this could have been likely a confound, the correlation between age and strategy is small. And then we've got some numbers. and could not have resulted in the observed decline in strategy. Oh, so the lower in age you got, the more. So what does this mean? So they figured out that they were probably trying to figure out if you were older, you liked more long-term strategy thinking, but if you were younger, you probably didn't like strategy and shit. But that's probably not true. Yeah. Let me see. The other reason why the decline in strategy is unlikely due to the demographic sampling confound is because we know from previous examinations of age and gender differences in gaming motivations that other motivations like competition are far stronger and correlated with gender and age. Okay, that's fair. People value competition over strategy. Well, they go like more or less hand in hand. I think you develop a strategy to compete against someone against their strategy, and I don't know. It's like I would need to see like more of these charts. Thus, any demographic confounds and sampling would have resulted in larger effects on those motivations rather than strategy. But why has strategy declined over time? Okay. There are many seemingly related findings in terms of our media consumption habits. Ooh, here we go. For example, over time, shorter YouTube videos have garnered a higher share of overall views. That's pretty true. I mean, I find myself, even though everybody memes on it, I find myself just like slowly browsing like YouTube shorts. Like, it's kind of funny because I do it on my laptop, which is like, it's designed for like mobile, like on your phone. But like, I don't need everyone else hearing like what like all the videos I'm thumbing through on fucking YouTube shorts. I don't use TikTok at all. The duration of shorts. So the duration of shots in movies. Oh, okay. I.e., between each cut has decreased from 16 seconds in 1930 to 4 seconds in 2010. Okay. But what does that mean? Jeez. I now that like I'm looking at this sentence, I think that is one reason why I just get like dizzy. Well, I don't get dizzy. I don't know. It's hard to pay attention in movies because there are so many cuts. Even within like the non-action scenes, just like talking from someone or whatever. It's like from 16 seconds in 1930 to 4 seconds in 2010. You're just like 4 seconds are going on. Okay, cut to a different one. Keep their attention. Like, Jesus. Huh. That's pretty crazy. I never would have thought of that. That's like but like, how do you measure enjoyment of a movie versus, do I enjoy a movie more if there's 4 second cuts versus if the movie has 16-second cuts? Like, what? How do you measure enjoyment? That's like really hard. And it's like, if a movie, there are tons of shitty movies that have 4 second cuts. Like, just because a movie has 4 second cuts doesn't make it a good movie. That's just what the director chose. The average time spent on a computer app window, e.g. on a Word doc before switching to a browser window, has decreased from 2.5 minutes in 2004 to 47 seconds in 2016. Ooh, okay. I didn't even know they could see that shit. I mean, because like right now, I got 2 screens open, but there's nothing really on my other screen. I got my fucking like Go XLR thing on my other screen. There's just like nothing there. I'm like focusing on this. The average time. I mean, how do you account for this? Like, can you tell? Like, if someone has like a second monitor open, or they're like alt tabbing between like a main window and a back window? Huh. In this light, the decline in strategy is likely not an idiosyncratic phenomenon among digital gamers, but parallels the general reduction in attention spans observed by researchers in different fields. Huh. Okay. I mean, a lot of the times, a lot of these game companies and big tech companies have stats on stats about how their apps are being used that you just don't see as a in like everyday life. Like between like YouTube alone, like there's probably so many stats that the big corporate YouTube sees that you don't see. Like they can see everything whenever you open up YouTube. It's like they can, like, I'm giving them stats right now. I mouse over this. Ooh, actually, the never-ending decline of Xbox. Ooh, I'm probably gonna watch that later. Where'd my dots? I'm gonna watch that later. Like they can see how long my mouse is tracking over each one of these videos. I allow it to play. I scroll down to shorts. I scroll over a short. Well, my mouse was here for a minute. Ooh, Bradley Martin. Ooh, he really wants to see like a fitness thing. Ooh, look at this guy. He's going to mouse over the fitness thing. He hovered over that. So I get it. Huh. That's, I mean, they use all of this. They use all of these stats that like you don't know that you're giving them. And they are simply making a product optimized based off of your actions. So, I mean, that seems to be the case. Okay, so let me see. I think it was right here. In this light, the decline in strategy is likely not an idiosyncratic. Blah, blah, blah. Yep, already got that. So, but because all over time comparisons are inherently correlational, it's difficult to pin down cause and effect. Yeah, because sometimes I feel like being in a short form consuming mode, but then other times I feel like I would want to consume content like in a long form mode. And that same person can just fluctuate between like short form and long form throughout the day, throughout the month, throughout the year. It would have to be like over a longer amount of time, it would seem. While we often blame social media for our decreased attention spans, there's a lack of concrete causal evidence for this. Of course, it bears pointing out that causal evidence for this would be difficult to produce, since it's unethical to raise children in artificial labs. What the hell? No shit. Also, the shot duration analysis in movies is a counterpoint to blame social media entirely. Yes, I would have never thought about the shot duration in movies. This downward trend in media attention span can be tracked as far back as the 1930s, although it's clearly possible that social media accelerated the underlying trend. That seems to be the case. I mean, this was probably true before they even had statistics, from like the advent of, written word, on like a stone, to like write pictures and hieroglyphics, to like words. There was like that transition. It's like, all those books, all those book bros, they don't like communicating with people. What happened to back in my day, we used to talk to one another to communicate information. Now they just gonna stick their head in all these books. And then from that transition onto radio. And then, they just want to hear other people's voices. Back in my day, we had to read the newspaper and read books for all our information. Not had the information talked to us by the radio. And then the radio bros got panned out by the TV bros. Now these people got to have voices along with their, or they got to have pictures with their voices. Back in my day, we all huddled around the radio. What the hell's going on? It's just a more and more, what do you call it? You're involving more senses in your media consumption, it seems to be the trend. And it seems like it's peaked because, as far as I know, it's like you can involve your eyes with seeing something. That's one. You can involve your ears with hearing something. That's two. Tactile touch, we haven't really done anything with that. Smell, we haven't really done anything with that. Let me see. We got eyes, ears. Eyes and ears like the main two. Taste is another one. We haven't really involved that one in social media consumption or any sort of consumption really, besides outside of food. I don't. I think it's actually gonna like peter out until Elon starts putting like chips in everybody's heads and shit like that. Yeah. We've come to like a critical point. It seems. Also, okay, so back to the article. This downward trend in media attention span can be traced as far back. Yes, so we got that. Okay. Another potential hypothesis is that the increasing negativity, polarization, intrusiveness, and emotional manipulation in social media has created a persistent cognitive overload on the finite cognitive resources we have. This is the truest of truths that has ever been trued. Of course, social media is going to polarize you. It's going to use intrusive things to make you interact and click the heart button, the up thumb, and all that shit for their videos. Of course, social media is going to do that. But you have to at least, at minimum, be aware that the social media is doing that too. Because I know a ton of people that just, they don't put like too much mental effort into like at least acknowledging it. Put simply, we may be too worn out by social media to think deeply about things. For example, higher engagement with social media is correlated with lower math and reading scores. Oh no. If I hit the heart button, that means I'm retarded. If I hit the up or down thumb button, it means I'm dumb. I'm a dum-dum. Oh man, I gotta stop doing that. Poor mental health among teenagers. Of course, again, these findings are correlational and not direct causal evidence. Okay, well that's nice to know. It's correlative. Correlation doesn't equal causation, blah, blah, blah. I'm saved by that sentence. My ego has been saved. Oh, man. That was so funny. That's like an insult. If you interact with social media, you're fucking stupid. Oh, man. Okay, so what is this? Implications for making games and understanding gamers. Oh, gamers. I mean, just recently, gamers were like the downfall of like society. Now we're trying to figure out how to make games better for gamers. Okay. Okay, world. Even if the underlying causes cannot be identified, it's clear that gamers have become less interested in strategic thinking over the last 9 years. It seems that way. It implies that gamers are now more easily cognitively overloaded when they play games and are more likely to avoid strategic complexity. Oh. You are more likely to avoid strategic shit in a game. Damn. Well, depending on the genre, I would either agree or disagree. Because for me, action RPGs are just a fucking complex spider web of how fucking math works, and it's just really hard to build a build yourself in any ARPG. It's just so hard. But if I take the genre of like either FPS, or I'll start with FPS. It's like the core game loop of any FPS is to just move mouse, click head. That's it. But in order for me to do that, I have to put a lot of time and effort into learning how to aim. For fighting games, I think fighting games are in a pretty decent middle ground. They can be as complex as Path of Exile, but they are easy to start up. What was that term? Easy to start or easy to learn, hard to master. Fighting games are very easy to learn. Left punch, right punch, left kick, right kick, or light, medium, heavy, special, things like this. Fighting games are easy to learn and hard to master. I think they do a very good job. Like, where do fighting games fall into this? Overall, okay, where was I? It implies that gamers now. Blah, blah, blah. This has implications for game design and marketing. Yes, it does. Overall, gamers now prefer shorter time horizons to plan for, i.e., the number of steps and branching outcomes they have to think through, and less complex decisions that they rely on fewer parameters to consider. Ooh, all right. That's fair. I would probably agree with that. I mean, because for me, like, bro, when I was playing Monster Hunter World, I love the fact that I could just jump in, jump out of a quest and just fight a single monster and go back to my hub. None of this fucking Souls-like bullshit where, like, okay, this is the map. Okay, you start from here and just, like, start uncovering the map. Like, I used to enjoy games like that. I just simply don't anymore as much. I know, and that doesn't make the games bad. Those games are very good. And I'm trying to, like, kind of force myself to, like, enjoy the games like that more and more. Like back in the day, like Skyrim and shit. There's just like a time, and I got to be in a mood before it, essentially. And for those of us, who study gamers, typically in the more confined context of specific game titles / franchises, this finding may help explain observed changes among strategy-related player segments over the past decade that we would otherwise have more likely attributed to game feature changes or COVID. I mean, because video gaming as a whole, you have to remember, is still like pretty young. It's like what, 30-ish years, 40 years? Somewhere between 30 and 40 years old. All right. And this study just took a little chunk of about a third of gaming history. So take that into consideration. So let's see. What do you think? Why do you think gamers have become less interested in strategic thinking and planning? There are other potential causes that come to mind. Or are there other potential causes to come to mind? Oh, well, yeah. Like if you're a poor person versus like if you're a rich person, if you're a rich person, you're probably more likely to play a game where there's like pay to win aspects in it. Like the most chief example is Diablo Immortal. Diablo Immortal. Yeah. Versus something on the opposite side of that, like Minecraft Creative, where you just build things. Or even in the extreme, another extreme, fucking aim training. Kovacs, Aim Beast, Aim Lab. All right. I am literally, there's no pay to win aspects in there. I'm not made of money. So I'm going to invest my time in like a skill that I enjoy developing. There's that aspect that comes into play of money. Do you feel your attention span and ability to think deeply has changed since the emergence of social media and or smartphones? When I was younger and I played video games when I was younger, I probably wasn't thinking too deeply. I think deeply more, but maybe my actions dictate otherwise. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think back of like when I was a little kid and playing like all these like old school console games, like Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank. What else? A ton of other games, Skyrim. A ton of these games. I don't remember how I thought. Like I don't know what deep thinking means to these people. I just don't know. Are there? Okay, and wait, what's the other part? Changed since the emergence of social media or smartphones. I mean, me, like as I get older, I don't know. I would say I'm more picky with like the games I buy. I'm not completely a saint in that. If a new game drops on day one, and I think the reputation behind it is good, and like all my friends get the game, will I more likely get the game? Like, yeah, I might. Despite like what my other like my long-term brain thinks, it's like, oh, wait a week, wait 2 weeks, figure out if there's bugs in it, figure out, is the game good, is it bad? Like I'm not like a saint in that respect. I would like to think I think more deeply now, but shit, I don't know, man. Are there other documented changes in our social media consumption habits or cognitive metrics that you think might be related to this? I have literally no idea. Have you seen similar or related findings specific to gamers and games research? I would probably think if you dipped into each game genre, you would find that people would value these categories differently. But you guys just took 1.5 million gamers and lumped them all into one and, divvied out everything and said people don't give a shit about strategy, which is fine. Every video game doesn't need to cater to every category in an equal way. That's the great thing about video games. If you feel like playing a destructive / exciting game, there's a game for that. If you feel like playing a challenging / strategical game, there's a separate video game for that. Those are two different audiences. Do they both classify as gamer? Well, yeah, I would say they do. I would have to see like how people like value these 12 categories within the different genres is what I would like to see. But yeah, that was pretty revealing. People just value overall strategy less and less, and that's fair. But that's not to say that challenge and strategy is like the most least valued thing. I mean, like I said before, within each genre, people value different things, and people will figure out. I mean, because if people valued challenge and strategy like less, why am I seeing all these fucking like videos saying that streamers ruin gaming? They're too try hard. They're too sweaty. This is too sweaty. Gaming's too sweaty right now. The competitive audience ruined gaming. The streamers ruined gaming. This and that, whatever. Esports ruined gaming. If that was the case, then this whole article would not be true. But that is the case, and this article is pretty true. So yeah. Yeah, this is a pretty cool article. Just to like look at everything and whatnot. But yeah, I'll be on the lookout for more shit like this. I think it's cool to look at, but that's pretty much it for me. All right. I will catch you guys on the next one. All right. Later.